I would like to add on. We have a Q&A question chat box here, wherein we can, you are all feel free to just drop the questions, what all you have, and the speakers would accordingly answer them. All right. Over to you, Komalpreet. Thanks. Komal, you are on mute.
Hi everyone. My name is Komalpreet Kaur. I am working as a solution consultant at Caelius Consulting. So, Kapish, can you please present the presentation?
Hope you are able to see the screen.
Yeah. So, today's topic is MuleSoft Anypoint Platform SSO, in which we will discuss how to configure it using OpenID Connect and SAML 2.0. Can you just go to next slide? So here are the safe harbor statements for this presentation. Both the speakers and host are organizing this meetup at individual capacity, and we are not representing our organizations here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose, and we do not hold any responsibility that the same solution will work for your business use case. This presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. So here are the organizers of this Mohali meetup. Hi Lavina, can you please give a brief introduction of yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Lavina Ambani, and I look into customer success for Caelius Consulting. Nice to meet everyone. Thanks, Komalpreet.
Yeah. Kapish, can you please move to the next slide? As I have already introduced myself, let me hand over to Kapish for his introduction.
Okay, sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Kapish Bhardwaj. I'm working as senior solution consultant with Caelius Consulting. It's been 3 years been working here. I love to contribute in the MuleSoft and the MuleSoft community. So, over to you, Komalpreet Kaur.
Okay, can you please move to next slide? So here are the key concepts that we will discuss in today's meetup. First of all, introduction to MuleSoft Anypoint Platform SSO. Then we will discuss what is identity management and its working. Then what is this identity provider and then its configuration. Then Kapish will show you in the demonstration that how to connect Okta and Ping Federate with Anypoint Platform using SAML 2.0 and OpenID Connect respectively. Then we will also discuss that how do we make groups in identity providers, and then definitely the conclusions. Kapish? Yeah. So before discussing Anypoint Platform SSO, we must be aware of that what is single sign-on. So basically single sign-on is authenticating users with multiple applications and websites using simple set of credentials. For example, we use same user for assessing multiple application. There are numerous benefits of single sign-on. For example, we can connect to core systems very faster. There is no need of remembering repeated passwords. It allows us multi-factor authentication, which enhances the security, and it is very easy to use and manage. So let's begin with our topic, Anypoint Platform SSO. So basically in today's session, we are going to discuss that how to configure Anypoint Platform to set up a single sign-on. So we use identity providers and managers for managing identities in the Anypoint Platform. So the question is, what is identity management? Do anyone know about this? You can just write it in the QA section if anybody knows about identity management. Guys, please answer in the QA section.
Kamal, I think we can move.
Yep. So basically, what is identity management? It ensures the right users to have appropriate access to the technology resources. So in identity management, we have we make sure that right user are accessing the required or the requested resources. For example, when any user log in with any his or her credential, his identity will be stored and verified whether the same user is assessing the identity assessing the technology resource which is requested by him, is it the same user or not. This whole is done by the identity providers. Yep. So there are two different approaches that can be followed to configure single sign-on in Anypoint platform: OpenID Connect and SAML 2.0. So first of all, what is OpenID Connect? It is an open authentication protocol that allows user to use single sign-on to access any third party sites with the help of identity providers. And identity providers can be anything like Okta, OpenAM, Salesforce, with the help of which we can we can access third party sites and securely. So OpenID Connect is totally based on oath, and you need to pass access token before logging in. Without, if you don't provide any access token to while login, it will not allow you to log in into the service provider. For that, you need to provide a token, and that token has a lifetime, and which that token has a lifetime, and after certain period of time it will expire, and you need to generate new token, and then you need to pass that one. In case of SAML 2. In case of SAML 2.0, basically SAML 2.0 stands for Security Assertion Markup Language, and it is also a way of authenticating users and providing access to the required or requested resources. But as I have discussed that OpenID Connect is auth based, but SAML is client based. So if you log in, once you log in with SAML 2.0, you don't need to log in each and every one. You don't need each and every time. You don't need to put same credentials each and every time, or an pass and token. Once you log in, you just click on the, there will, it will be on, in case of any point platform, you will Kapish will show you that you will get an option over there to continue, and you will be automatically gets logged in into the endpoint platform. So here is the identity management process. It shows how it works. So there are simple 7 simple steps that can be followed. First one is, you first of all, a user make a get request to the Anypoint platform or a service provider. In our case, the service provider will be Anypoint platform. Then when a get request is made, then the platform redirects it to the identity provider IDP. After that, the authentication process begins, and the browser sends an authentication request to the identity provider. Identity provider can be anything: Okta, Salesforce, OpenAM. So the fourth step can be skipped. Your If your credentials are valid, suppose you are logging to the Okta with the valid credential, then it will skip the fourth step and jumps to the step number 5. But in case your credentials are invalid, you are using wrong username or password, you are then you will it will simply show an error prompt. But if your credentials are fine, they get validated, then an assertion request will be sent to the user by the identity provider. And then a confirmation request is sent to the user respond to that request, and then it browser sends an SAML authentication response, and you will be able to access your requested resource. So this is how identity management process. So now we were talking about what is identity providers, IDP. So here the question comes, what is an identity provider? Basically, identity provider can be defined as the authentication service that stores and verifies user identities. Suppose Okta. Okta is used for validating users' identities. So basically, there are numerous steps that Kapish will show you in the demonstration, that how to configure identity provider. So first of all, if you are configuring identity provider with Anypoint platform, you need to log in and then go to Access Manager. There you find the tab identity providers. Under that, you will have two different options, OpenID Connect and SAML 2.0. You need to choose any one of them, and then you can continue with the configuration of the identity provider. After that, you will get a URI that will be used for client identity client registration. So can you, Kapish, can you please move to next slide? So these are the points that we must remember, that SAML 2.0 always communicate with Anypoint platform in XML format, and OpenID Connect uses JSON Web Token, as I have already discussed with you for the communication. But we must keep in mind one thing, that before doing configuration of OpenID Connect or SAML 2.0, it is always a necessary to select OpenID Connect or SAML 2.0 identity providers such as Okta, OpenAM, Salesforce, etc. So let me show you the implementation of MuleSoft Anypoint Platform SSO using OpenID Connect and SAML 2.0.
Yeah, I'll take it from here.
Okay,
Thanks,
over
Komal.
to you.
Yes. So I'll present my screen now. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
So I have already made a trial account of Anyone platform. And what I will do, if you want, I'll first go with the SAML 2.0. So you can configure it using the access management. If you go to access management, you go to identity providers. First step, initially what you should do, you should go to your organization, click on your parent organization, copy your organization ID. Copy your organization ID and organization domain, so that it will be useful after you configure your Okta. It will be required over there. So it is necessary. If you noted earlier, that will be helpful to you. And I'll move with the implementation now. So you click on identity providers under access management, and then I will add a new access management. So I add identity provider SAML 2.0. So I have added that as a SAML 2.0. So I will now connect my SAML 2.0 with Okta. So for that, you need to have a Okta developer account, and that is also free, where you can make your Okta developer account. I've already made my Okta developer account, and what I will do now, we will go to the applications, and in under applications, you need to click on your application. So you need to create your app integration. So you need to create your application in Okta so that you can connect your application with the Anypoint platform for SSO. So what we will do, we will create a new application, and I will select the SAML 2.0 as Komal suggested in the presentation, that we need to connect OpenID Connect or SAML 2.0, either of them. So I'll select SAML 2.0 in this case, and then I will be naming my app the Okta app. So I'll be using it as Okta SSO. You can decide depending on your use case, depending on your client, you can do that. And then we need to have a single sign-on URL. So single sign-on URL is basically you need to have your organization ID and the provide organization domain and the provider ID, so that it will be redirected to the sign-on URL. So means if I log in to the with the Anypoint platform domain URL, it will be redirected to the single sign-on URL. So I will add these details. I can add org domain as of now, because as I already copied the org domain. So I will take the org domain from here. Just to be sure, I'm rechecking my organization domain so that anything doesn't messes up. So I'm copying my org domain now. So you will get your provider ID at the end whenever you configure your settings in the Anypoint platform. So you will get your provider ID from the Anypoint platform whenever you configure your identity provider. So I'll go back again and select SAML 2.0. So I'll leave this step incomplete and edit after my application is built in the Okta. So audience URI is basically the, like you say, the default login page of the endpoint platform. So that's the audience URI. So you can take your audience URI as the organization ID and the endpoint.mulesoft.com. So your my organization ID in this case is this one, as I've already taken from the endpoint platform. This is the audience URI. This is organization ID dot anypoint dot mulesoft.com. So this is specific to anypoint platform. If you are doing SSO on some other things, on some other platform, so like some other iPaaS, so you can so your audience URI will depend on that. But this is specific to anypoint platform, so I will take up my organization ID and then anypoint.mulesoft.com. So default replace state, you can leave it as empty, and then we need to have the attribute statement. So what it is for, like it will authenticate on the basis of this particular name which I will be sending over here. So I'll map first name, last name, and email. So it will authenticate on the basis of first name, last name, and email. So these are by default present in Okta. Just you need to add the name. Okay, so this is the, like I will coming to this part after I make an app. So this is used for, let's suppose I make an app in Okta, and there are multiple groups involved in it, like multiple groups as in a developer group and a monitoring group. So developer will be requiring the access to all the environments as he's a developer, but the monitoring team is restricted to production only because they're monitoring only production logs. So I'll be adding groups and mapping that with the endpoint platform using Okta. I'll do that in this. I'll do that later. So all the things that, if you see, I have configured my single sign-on URL, but it needs to be replaced. I'll do that, and we have configured the audience URI. But just keep in mind, for the single sign-on URL, you need to have your organization ID, organization domain, and the provider URL. So I can we need to keep that single sign-on URL over here, and audience URI is organization ID dot anypoint dot mulesoft.com. So these are the two major steps you need to keep in mind whenever you make your app in Okta. So I'll click on next, and I'll choose that I'm a software vendor. I'm just doing some test application around it. So if you see, my Okta application has been built now. So I need to take the Okta properties so that I can set it up on the platform. So now if you see, we have got all the properties. So you can from where you can get your properties is, you need to click on the sign on, and then if you scroll down, there is a SAML setup. We need to click on view SAML setup instruction, and then you will get all your information that needs to be populated on the anypoint platform. So I'll go to anypoint platform, and I'll give a name as Okta SSO as of now, and I'll give a sign on URL. So sign on URL can be taken out from here. I'll just simply paste it, and sign off URL is basically your anypoint platform URL. Whenever you log out from your anypoint platform, there's a like login page displayed. So that's the sign off URL for you. And the issuer ID is also been taken from Okta. I'll copy paste my issuer ID over here. And then it requires the public key. So I'll take the certificate public key from here and just paste it over here. So then that's the audience ID. So audience ID is again the organization ID and the anypoint.mulesoft.com. So I'll take my copy my organization ID and then simply write anypoint.mulesoft. Okay. So uh, also for mapping, like as I talked earlier, we need to map the access of a particular user. So we'll that particular setting in the group attribute. We'll do that later. For now, I'm just creating a simple application. I'll not be having platform level access to it. I'll just have a authentication to it. Authorization will be done later in the later stages. So I'll save this changes. And if you see, my application is created Okta SSO. So now, as I said, we need to have a. I left this place in between. If I go to my general settings. As I said, we have left the single sign-on URL. We need to replace with the provider ID. So we get the provider ID from the ACS. So this is the ACS the session URL. We need to copy the session URL from any one platform, and then we can edit this particular settings, and we'll replace the single sign-on URL with the with the ACS URL that we have received from the anyone platform. And then I'll go and save my settings from the in the Okta. Okay, so I've saved my settings in Okta. So and I've done my settings in endpoint platform. So I'll try to log in with the domain URL now. So this is my domain URL for my organization. I'll log out from here. Now guys, you will receive an error if I log in with this domain URL. I'll give you 1 minute. If anybody knows what will error you will be getting, anybody can answer. I'll wait in the chat for 1 minute. Okay, no worries. So I'll show you. So if you see, I have clicked on the domain URL. So I'm getting the option continue with Okta SSO. Means I am getting my display name was Okta SSO in any one platform. That's why I'm getting continue with Okta SSO. If I click on continue with the Okta SSO, I'll be getting 403. There's a reason I'm getting 403. If anybody knows, anybody can answer. But I'll answer for this question. We are getting 403 because we have not created any group in Okta as of now. So we need to create a group in Okta. It can be done under assignments tab. There's a group, but no user is assigned to it. So we can create a group. I'll go from scratch. Click on the assignments, click on assign, and then click assign to groups. And then you see I'll assign everyone as of now just for a demo purpose, for the authentication purpose. For the authorization purpose, I will show you how to create your own custom groups. So I'll click on assign and click on done. So it says one group is assigned successfully. So I log in back again with my or anyone platform domain URL, and we'll see what is under replayed now. So if I have clicked on the URL, I am clicking continue with Okta SSO. So it redirected me to the anyone platform, if you see. So that's how our Okta SSO work. It does not ask me for Okta username and password because I was already logged in the Okta in this browser. So it didn't ask me for Okta. If you were not logged into Okta, it will ask you for the username and password, and then you will be able to log into anyone platform using Okta SSO. So that's the part of authentication. So now move to part of authorization. Let's suppose I am one of the users that logged in using the organization domain, and I want to access the runtime manager. But I'll not be able to access runtime manager because my user has not been assigned any permissions to it. So now here comes into the picture the authorization. How can I assign a specific group the access to runtime manager and all the settings in here? So this can be done using my Okta. So first I need to log in with my parent ID. So there's also one difference. If you see, I have logged in using my custom organization domain. So in there you are not able to see the option of access management because you are not using the parent ID. So for that, editing anything in parent ID, you need to add login using your parent ID. So I'll again log in with my parent ID. That's the username of Kapish underscore meetup. Caelius underscore meetup. Okay, so I'm in the parent org now. Now I'm working on the authorization part of things. Okay, so now I'm here. I'll move to Okta SSO. So we'll create a new group in Okta. So that can be done under a directory tab. If you click on the groups, you will be able to create your own custom group. I'll add a group and name it as uh, MuleSoft developers. I am giving that as a group name. And then if you see, my group is created. So I'll go back to my groups again, just to assign the people inside it, because in this time I do not have any people to it. So if I don't add any people, any particular user would not be having any permissions. Let's suppose you are working with a team and there are 10 developers to it. You need to add the 10 developers in Okta, so that you can get the required access for all your developers. So I'll click assign people, and I'll use mine account for adding as of now in the MuleSoft developer. So if you see, I'll go back to groups again. So if you see, I have assigned one people under MuleSoft group. I'll copy this MuleSoft developer. This is my group name, and I'll add it as my mapping. So I am giving the sandbox access to my developer, and I can add it as set external group mapping. So I'm adding my group name, MuleSoft developer, identity provider is Okta, and then I'll be clicking on save. So if you see, I've added my group mapping, and then I'll again go back to Okta. I need to, as I said earlier, I've given the roles to a specific group under the roles. As I said, we need to do some mapping as well in the identity provider, as it will does not understand which particular group it belongs to. So I need to add something in group attribute. So how will I add? First, I need to add a group attribute in the Okta. So again, I'll go to my applications, and there's my application Okta SSO. Then I click on general, just for adding my mapping in Okta. I'm just doing the mapping now. If you see, that's a group attribute that I specified earlier. We'll add group attribute. I'll take the group attribute as group only, and use regex to match it. So I'll use dot and star to match this pattern. So if anybody if any groups come, if any group comes with the name pattern called group, it will match to that particular group. And then I'll click on next, and then finish. And the same setting I need to do in the endpoint platform as well. I'll assign the same name under the group attributes, and then click on save changes. So I have assigned the group as well now. So what I will do, I will log out again from the endpoint platform and log in again using my domain URL. Again, I'm clicking by continue Okta SSO. So by now you will be able to see your access in the runtime manager as well. Yeah, you see I'm getting the access to sandbox. So these are the things for these are authorization side of things with Okta SSO. I'll hold for another 2 minutes now. So you guys have any question in Okta, I can answer, and then I'll be taking up the ping federate to connect with.
Kapish, we do have a question in general section.
Yeah, I'll take up the question now. How we will differentiate that the login is for the group in which the access is for all the custom group. How we will differentiate that the login is for. So Anshul, answering to your question, we can differentiate groups among the architect usually differentiate the groups on the basis of requirement. Like there can be groups for developer, there can be group for a tester, there can be group for monitoring team. So depending on developers, as developers requires all of the access, not on the production side of things, but on the lower environment side of things, and tester would be requiring access to also the lower environment side of things, and sport team would be requiring access to the logs. So from there we can decide the access, and from the groups under directory tab in Okta, you can add custom group in your Okta and assign your particular user to it. So it's like it's suggestible to have a you say a domain username, domain ID, email ID, as we have as you take up example for Caelius Consulting, it can be kapish.bhardwaj@kaeliusconsulting.com. So if I make a group, and I will be able to assign people under the same domain, under the same Caelius Consulting domain. So from there you can add persons in the group as well. Does that justifies your answer? Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks guys. So now I'll move on to the next part, that is connecting our endpoint platform with the OpenID Connect. So let me log in back again with my parent credentials. So this is my organization. I've already copied my organization ID and organization domain earlier. So I'll move to identity provider. And then there's also one question for you guys. Some of you asked, can we add multiple identity providers under one organization? Yes, you can do that. I will show you how you do that. So if you see, Okta is already configured in this organization, so I'll add a new OpenID Connect IDP as well. So in this case, I'll name it as OpenID, and then we can take all these details from the ping federate, as I am connecting my OpenID Connect with the ping federate. So just to know you guys, ping federate is not is available on your personal emails. You can use domain emails or your company emails to log into ping identity. So I've already made my account, so I'll create a new application now, and I'll be giving the application name as ping, and then I'll be using OpenID web app. I'll save these changes. As you see, I've got all the information required as of now. So I'll take all the information from here and copy it into the Anyone platform, as all the information is required at that site. So first I'll add client ID, client secret. So on this site, so I'll be taking client ID and client secret from the general. Under the configuration tabs, under the configuration tab, you can see the general and copy the client ID from here. Paste it over there. Similarly, copy the client secret. So it is different from client from application to application. So I'll now getting the OpenID Connect issuer, so we can connect the Connect issuer from here. OpenID, yeah, you can get the OpenID Connect issuer from here. Just copy it and paste it over here, and then the authorization URL. So you can get your authorization URL using this tab authorize. Similarly, if I go to the token URL, and then I'll be getting the user info URL. I'll be saving all these details. So I'll take the ACS URL, and I need to add my ACS URL under. I'll show you the configuration where the div I need to add. So make it as client credentials as you are doing client ID and client secret. And then in the redirect URI, you need to add I'll show you what you need to add. I'll map it over here. So under the redirect URI, one moment. Okay. So you can add your redirect URI over here. I'll just duplicate the tab as of now. And then we need to have a initiate login URL. So we can take the login URI from here. So it's the login URI is similar as to if you see uh, login URI is similar to the endpoint platform login page. You just need to add it over here, the login URI. And then we need to have a sign off URI. Sign off URI is basically the domain, like similar to the ACS URL. Just it's just that which we get from your domain URL in the endpoint platform. You can copy it from here and then add your sign off URL over here and save your changes. And don't forget to turn on your OpenID so that you will able to see your option in the endpoint platform. Now I'll log off from this account. Also, all the settings are done in the ping ID and the endpoint platform. Now I'll log off from this account and log in via my domain URL. So you are seeing it's the earlier option which we are getting for Okta SSO, and now we are getting the option for OpenID as well. So I'll use the option for OpenID. As you see, I was able to, I was already logged into ping ID. That's why it did not ask me for the ping ID credential and simply logged into logged into endpoint platform. Yeah, so that's all how we do it using SAML 2.0 with Okta and OpenID Connect with using Ping Federate. That's all in the implementation plan as we discussed today. And you guys can ask any question if you have. I'm happy to answer that. You can Nilesh, you can give under a groups tab if you see in the OpenID Connect. It is similar as of in Okta. So you can give it another access, group access. You can add group access over here. You can add mappings over here. It's similar if you like there are mappings and access involved in the Okta. So similar settings are involved in Ping Federate as well. There are the mappings and here are the access. Yeah, Okta had multiple options. Ishilvir, you are correct. But with the endpoint platform, we can only connect with the Okta SSO. Sorry, we can connect only with SAML 2.0 or OpenID Connect. So that are the two options available. So you cannot connect with any other option available in the Okta. You can connect only with two options as we are connecting the endpoint platform with it. Okay, so Damni, Lavina, Akhil, you can take it up from here. I see the questions are done. You can take it up from here. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kapish. Thanks, Komal. Let's time for trivia now.
Sure.
So for trivia, we are using Mentimeter. Basically, Mentimeter is an we can say interactive presentation tool that allows the users to engage their the answers and in the real time base, right? So also we can get the results instantly, right? So what all you need to do is you have to write your full name there, and we can get the questions one here. So I've shared the URL with you. You can just connect meanwhile. And use the code 65139404. Okay, let's for one more minute to wait. Yeah, we can have the question now. Which of these is not the benefit of Anypoint Platform SSO? Okay, so the answer is repeated passwords. So let's have the leaderboard now. Okay. So Shruti has won this first question. Let's go for the next one, please. So our second question is, in which format does SAML 2.0 communicate with Anypoint Platform SSO? Okay, so the answer is XML. Let's have the leaderboard now. Who won this question? Okay, so we have Akshay Jay for the second question's winner. Okay, next we have our last and final question. So the question is, where do we get organization ID from the Anypoint platform? All right. So can we have the leaderboard now? The final leaderboard about the winners. Okay, so we have Akshay, Gaurav Oberoi. Okay, Akshay. Congratulations, Akshay, for winning this. All right. Let's congrats him. So I'm just dropping my email ID here so that you can share your email ID with me for the amazing training vouchers. All right. So let's. Okay. Fantastic sessions. All right. Okay. So I think we should wrap up this meetup now. Anything else?
Namni, I see a message from Gopal Mediri. He's asking to upload the meetup in the YouTube channel.
Yeah, sure. We'll be uploading this meetup, this whole recording in the YouTube channel for sure. You can just have a brief on there. All right. So thanks a lot, everyone, and thanks for our special audience for a wonderful session, and also Kapish and Komal for sharing all the insightful thoughts. Thanks, Lavina, for coordinating and coordinating whole this MuleSoft event. Thanks a lot for joining in, audience. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Thanks, team. Thank you.